All right, welcome into the Auburn Live Modcast. We're back with the whole crew. Look at the whole crew looking good. Jeffrey, Cole, myself, Justin, Hokanson. How's everybody doing?
How about you?
Hey, man. Cole stole my line.
I had to beat you to it.
I'm ready, man. First modcast of the season. Getting ready.
Yeah, man. I told y'all before, I got some wings going on tonight for the Florida-Utah game. This will go in the morning, but I'm fired up for some football.
Cole, I know who won that game.
Thursday. Yeah. Florida, Utah. That'll be a good one. First big time game. I tried to get into the games last weekend. I couldn't. Maybe Notre Dame, Navy sucked, and then I just couldn't get into it. I mean, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys. Like I told Cole, I can't. People are probably going to hate me for this. I can't just watch every game every minute. I'm not that. I love college football and I watch the big games. I'm not one of those dudes who's going to stay up and watch the midnight Pac-12 game between Oregon State and Cal. Like I don't care enough. I got other things to do.
Well,
that's totally fine.
Priorities change when you have little ones.
Yes.
But I will say that is where you and I differ, Justin. I will watch Pac-12 after dark. I will watch Eastern Tennessee State play, Stony Brook. I'll watch it.
Stony Brook.
I cannot do it. All right, we're going to talk a lot about Auburn and UMass. Zach says Justin does not respect the FCS. That's probably true. We're going to talk about Auburn and kind of what our expectations are. The UMass game. We'll get into some predictions later. Before we do that, Jeffrey, let's talk about Prize Picks real quick.
Man, I love me some Prize Picks. We did them last year. They're a lot of fun. Kind of gives you things to outside the game, outside the line, something to look at. Let me get you some with Prize Picks partnership with Auburn Live on 3. You've got a promo code of War Eagle, all caps, one word, War Eagle. Use that promo code, and up to $100, man, they'll match you the first deposit. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. So you put in 50, Prize Picks will give you 50. So up to $100, Prize Picks will match your first deposit, and then from there you pick 2 to 6 players. It'll be a more or less kind of deal. Like last year, a lot of the times it was Tank Bigsby with 88.5 rushing yards. Well, you take more or less, kind of like that. This week there aren't any Auburn squares. I think they get updated maybe closer to kickoff. But as of today, and we're recording this on Thursday, there aren't any Auburn squares. There are, however, some season-long squares for some Auburn-related players. Thought that was very interesting. You can go on Prize Picks right now, prizepicks.com, or upload the app. The app's what we all use. It's fantastic. But they've got season-long highs and lows, mores or lesses. And Bo Nix was one. I thought it stood out to me. Man, they've got him at 3,000.5 passing yards. 3,000 for Bo Nix. Now, does anybody know what he threw for last year, Zach? Any idea? You look that up. But 3,000 passing yards, 23.5 passing touchdowns. So now you're looking at two passing touchdowns a game, plus
3,593.
Oh, he threw for 3,500 last year.
Almost 36.
Jeez,
wow! So
when you said 3,000 being the over/under, I was like, it feels like he could be a Heisman finalist. It felt low.
Yeah,
he had 29.
Wow, it is low. That's almost a free square. I mean, unless he gets hurt, right? He had over 40 total touchdowns last year.
Rushed for 500 yards. Yeah, he balled out last year.
So Bo Nix right now, go get that free square as far as I'm concerned. More or less, Bo Nix, 3,000 passing yards, 3,000.5 passing yards on the season, 23.5 passing touchdowns. Another one I thought was interesting, SEC related here, Alabama related here. Quinshawn Judkins from Ole Miss, the kid from Pike Road who signed with Lane Kiffin instead of was that Harsin?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So Quinshawn, who's I think he was all SEC last year. He's probably one of the top 2 or 3 backs in the conference, which is saying something. But his rushing total for the season, more or less, 1,275.5. That's a lot of yards in the SEC. What would you take, Cole?
I'd take it, man. I think he was the leading rusher in the SEC last year as a freshman.
Quinshawn Justin. I know Zach knows how much he rushed for last year.
1,500 yards last year.
Damn.
Did he really? I would go over 1,200 too. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna go off.
Now, here's the deal, folks. If you're in Alabama, you can only use the combo squares. You know how Alabama is; we're always the last to do a lot of things. But in Alabama, if you're playing in Alabama, you can do the combo squares. Offer Alabama customers combo selections, which must include 2 or more athletes. So you can go Bo Nix, Quinshon Judkins, but look closer to the kickoff for all the Auburn games. I hope they're coming out a little bit early from here on out, but this is the UMass game, the season opener, and they're probably kind of trying to get a gauge on what to do. But customers in Alabama select 2 to 6 of these combo boxes and play against the house, not other individuals like some traditional DFS operators. So get the Prize Picks. Use your promo code War Eagle, all caps, one word. They're going to match your first deposit up to $100, and we're going to be playing throughout the season, man. We had a lot of fun with Prize Picks last year. We're certainly going to be doing it again this year. We want to thank Prize Picks.
And the combo squares, Jeffrey, they're like 600 yards total, and it'll be Bo Nix and another quarterback. And you're
is that how that works?
Yeah, you're trying to say if they're the 2 of those combined are going to have more than 600 yards or less.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks for the clarification.
Yes, sir.
Man, I feel like I look thin this morning. Maybe that's the good lighting.
You do.
There it is. All right, let's talk. All right, let's just open the floor to some thoughts as Auburn starts the season with UMass. Auburn and UMass have never met, so it'll be first meeting between the teams. Should be a new capacity crowd inside Jordan Hare, 88,043, which is a new increased number from 87,451. Now,
what was that? What was that number again, Justin? I'm sorry.
The new number is 88,043. The new capacity crowd. Old capacity was 87,451. Of course, you'd have bigger crowds, people sneaking in, but in terms of just an official capacity crowd, that's because Auburn's added this premium seating in the corners that they're selling, and so it's added just that'll be interesting. By the way, interesting to see how that looks. But yeah, new capacity crowd for this game. A new season ticket sale record, 63,500 season tickets. That broke the old record of 62.9. So, I mean, the excitement's there, the enthusiasm's there. Auburn football's never boring.
That's true.
Jeffrey, what's the vibe? What are you feeling going into this opener with the Hugh Freeze era?
A lot of excitement, and I'm just going off of Auburn Live on 3 subscribers, the callers, the listeners, and what we've seen. A lot of excitement, obviously, man. Anytime you have a new coach, there's going to be a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. For me, leading up to this game this week, I thought the one thing, and I think you guys reported this as everybody else did, but it was the captains. And the last guy mentioned, man, I thought when you name a kid who's been here for what, a month,
yeah,
one of your team captains, but man, that to me it's a lot of confidence in Peyton Thorne. That's a lot of it's not pressure, it's responsibility from Hugh Freeze going, man, this is your team. I mean, that takes – this kid just won the quarterback battle 2 weeks ago, officially. I mean, we had heard all summer long from wide receivers and everybody else, that's my quarterback. We don't have anybody like that on this team. But, throughout fall camp, you had Robbie Ashford making noise, Holden Gerner making noise, and you don't know how to decipher that. Is that coach speak? Is it the build down, or the tear down, the build up process that we've seen so many times over the years? But I thought for Peyton Thorne to be named a team captain, that told me a lot. I don't know what it actually told me, but it meant a lot to see that this kid who's been here for a couple of, officially been here 6 weeks, and just won the quarterback competition. For him to be named a captain, I thought says a lot about him, a lot about what Hugh Freeze thinks about him. I'm ready to see him under center. I'm ready to see him throw some passes. I'm ready to see how this team reacts. And plays, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be so much more fun to watch than it was a year ago.
Yeah, thank God.
Win or lose, it's going to be more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think to me, Cam Stutz being named a captain on that note was like a culture win for Auburn because the dude, he said no to the transfer portal several times because he had the opportunities to do that. And nobody would have blamed him because he was, behind on the depth chart. And then the guy, he sticks around. He's been there for a long time now, but I mean, he's the starter, and right with that, he's the captain, and everybody's got his respect. I think it's good for the way that, college football is today that he got that and stuck around and paid his dues and made it happen. So I loved that, and of course, I think the players picked the captains too. So that's another important thing. But
really?
That's what it seemed like in the video they put out.
Okay.
When Cadillac was talking to him, it was like, this is really important for you guys to pick the captains. And
wow.
I got my brick on the wall out there on Jordan Hare for me being a captain, that kind of stuff.
Dude, that says even more about Peyton Thorne, doesn't it?
That's what I was thinking when you were saying that.
Wow. So, hey, Luke Deal, Cam Stutz, Peyton Thorne, and
Elijah McAllister. Yeah. Which I mean, that's all four of those guys are complete no-brainers to me. Just knowing knowing a little bit about those guys, listening to they're exactly the people you want voicing your message in front of the team, relaying your message, setting the culture. I mean, Elijah McAllister is unbelievable. Luke Deal's unbelievable. And Peyton Thorne, if you watch that video where it looked like from last night, by the way, that they put up about the Watchmen, it looked like the Leadership Council. Damari Alston was up there speaking a little bit. Keontae Scott was up there speaking. That looked like the Leadership Council group, by the way. But you heard a little bit of Peyton speaking. Man, that kid is mature beyond his years and his perspective and how he looks at things and how he's going to be as a leader. It's impressive to listen. Even when we spoke to him in front of the media, he carries himself not like a college kid.
Right. So the Watchman thing is interesting. Have y'all heard the term Watchman a couple times?
No.
Justin, I know when we one of the very first sit-down interviews we had of fall camp was with Cam Riley, and he was asked about Eugene Asante and his emergence, and it was like, yeah, he's a Watchman. He's a Watchman on the team. I was like,
yeah, Asante was in that video too. So what that is it's, and people may not like this, I'm just going to tell you what it is. It is based on a verse in the Bible that talks about being a watchman for your brother, for people around you, like just being there for them, helping them walk in the right way. That is what that's from. And so, obviously Hugh Freeze and his background and his, that's obviously his faith is important. He's gonna filter that onto the team. And so that's where that comes from. And so then you have that group of guys that you saw. You have the Leadership Council, the Culture Council, the Watchmen. That might be the same thing, but you have those group of guys, kind of a larger group of guys outside of the team captains that are those people that are kind of they're the watchmen of your culture and of your standard and making sure that everything's being lived up to.
Yeah, I think everybody in that video were the watchmen that have been chosen or whatever. But that's great. Love that.
So 2 of the 4 journeymen are Luke Deal and Cam Stutz. They're Auburn journeymen. They've been here. And then the other 2 guys, 2 transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, it is interesting.
Well, that kind of defines this team, right? Split up between transfers and guys that return. I mean, it's 50-50 almost. It might be even more new faces than guys returning. But I'd say to your first question, Justin, what I'm excited about is every time I turn on Philip Montgomery's offenses, even Tulsa, I go back and watch Tulsa. I like it. I really like it. I think that there's a lot of things to be excited about with the offense. It's not necessarily that flashy. It's not always going to be flashy, and that's sort of reflected by who they chose as their quarterback, because Peyton Thorne's, he's not flashy. I mean, to be honest, he's solid, and he's going to get the job done and that kind of thing. Some comparisons were thrown around about Brandon Cox, and I think that might be a pretty decent comparison with him. But that's what I want to see the offense. I'm a little bit concerned about the defense, but the offense is what's got me a little bit fired up about this team. And I think that Philip Montgomery is going to be calling, as I wrote, Thursday morning, and what to expect from the offense. I have no idea if he's going to be in the box or on the field. I know he was on the field as the play caller at Tulsa. That for some reason that is always a really big topic with fans. It was where the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They love to know that. And I'm trying to figure it out, but I think he's going to be on the field. I don't know for sure, but he seems to like calling it from the field for whatever reason. And he is going to be calling it, by the way. That Hugh Freeze has doubled, tripled down on that. So
about 5 years ago, that became a trend for fans. Like they want and need to know: are these guys going to be on the field or in the box? Like there were stories.
It matters to them. Like they don't know what the difference is. They're gonna be like, "Okay, great." Like they've never been a coordinator.
But it's not just Auburn fans; it's all over. I saw BOL, the Alabama site on 3 site had like a story of find out where all the coaches were going to be, and I'm like, who cares? Like what? Well, seriously.
Yeah.
Like what does that matter? Okay. Oh, okay. He's gonna be in the box. All right. Yes. All right. Oh, he's gonna be on the field. Oh my God, he's gonna be on the field. Oh my God. What are we gonna do?
We're winning 9 games now.
Oh yeah, right. And that makes the difference. But I will say this, Justin. You mentioned the new seating, the new field levels. I hate to let them people know, but you can't see shit. You can't see shit from the field, big dog. I hate to break it to you, but turn your seat to the jumbotron. That's how you're going to be watching the game. Now, if you want to be immersed in the atmosphere and in front of the student sections and all that, okay, I can see that. There's going to be crazy atmosphere right there, but you can't see crap from the field. I can't. I still don't understand how head coaches are sitting there on the 50-yard line watching the game and going.
Dude, I
don't know what you. Is that why you got
to?
It's tough. It's tough.
I can't do it. When I took pictures, when I started this. Yeah, when I started this over 10 years ago, and I was on the field all the time during the game, I couldn't see. Like I would be on the field. I would have to watch the game later on to understand what happened. I would have no feel really for what's happening when I was on the field. It's a totally different experience. I will say those people seating, I think there's going to be TVs
in front of them
within the infrastructure. So I think we'll have a TV to see. But it's going to be an interesting setup. But yeah, I would probably be watching a lot of jumbotron. I think it's a lot of like drinking, bring me drinks, bring me food, and we're just hanging out and we'll watch the game.
Make daddy a sandwich.
I know what that's from.
I bet.
So make daddy a sandwich.
What do you do? Which is I enjoy the first half of the first quarter. I especially if it's a big game. Now, if it's a big game, it's worth being down there because you get to feel it. You can feel it, right? But other than that, man, I'm with Cole under the stadium watching it on television because I can see something. It's hard for me to talk about a football game that I watched from the sidelines.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you're doing the whole time, which is fine. But to really understand or try to understand, for me, I'm pretty amateur when it comes to that. But I have to watch it on television. I can't watch it from the side. But anyway, I'm excited about the other fan game day fireworks and tunnel smoke and.
Jeffrey, how do you feel about the DJ booth in the student section?
Dude, that's got it. I want to see it first. All right,
I know. I got to see it. I got to see it too. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
On paper, it sounds cheesy.
Well, there's always been a DJ. You just can't see him. He's up in the box somewhere, doing. So when music's happening in the stadium, there's somebody that's picking that and choreographing.
Oh, that's not coming from the big dudes up in the big box.
Well, it is the guys up in the big box. Like, so he's just up there.
Okay.
So I don't know what it's going to look like. Yeah, they're going to put him in the middle, kind of like basketball. So in basketball, over in that corner in the student section, the DJ's in that corner with his little setup. I don't know.
Like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, are you able to see him? I don't know if it helps. I don't know. We'll see if there's anything different about it.
The students will probably like it.
I'm gonna take one of those shirt cannons if it's bad.
The students will love it if he's actually DJing. Like, if he's legit, like as soon as there's a timeout, he's just rolling into stuff. Then it'll be cool, and the students will get if he's able to have free reign to. If there's a timeout on the field, he can just go right into stuff, whatever. then it could be cool. Keep it up. We'll see if it changes the atmosphere at all. But man, it's gonna be cool. That kind of crowd for UMass. UMass is gonna be like, I mean, I know it's Auburn, but like, who are we? Is this a Super Bowl or what is happening?
Yeah,
right.
I'm just ready to have something to talk about other than reports and practices and quotes and
me too.
What sources are saying. I'm ready to see it and be able to talk about it. And I'm really excited to see what this team looks like. I don't know much about Ron Roberts. I'd never heard of him before he was hired at Auburn. That doesn't say much. That doesn't say anything about Ron Roberts because I don't know most of the defensive coordinators in this country. But I'm excited. That Cole wants to see the offense. I want to see the defense. I want to see.
Yeah, that's a question. Big question mark.
I want to see that defensive line. I want to see the linebackers. I want to see the transfers. I'm really looking forward to seeing the offensive line. I just want to see how everything looks, man, because we didn't get shit for A-Day. We didn't get to see anything for A-Day. We haven't seen this
raining,
team.
cold. Yeah, it was terrible.
Y'all seen them warm up and throw a couple, kind of for 20 minutes, but we haven't seen anything from this team, especially with Peyton Thorne at quarterback.
Nothing.
Have no idea what this team can do. They might be a 9-win team. They might be a 4-win team. We don't know.
Well, that's why I think that's why people are so kind of all over the place with predictions. You mentioned Ron Roberts. It kind of reminds me of 2010 when Malzahn's coming in, and Malzahn, by the way, from Tulsa, who had this great offensive reputation, and then you had Ted Roof on the other side, and you're like,
I think he came from Georgia
Ted Roof
Tech.
didn't excite you. You're like, okay, Ted Roof. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that defense is going to look like. Sort of same thing. All Philip Montgomery, Hugh Freeze, you feel like you're excited about the offense, and then you're like, Ron Roberts, I don't know. It's the same kind of feel for me.
I tell you what else I'm looking forward to. Seeing some of these freshmen. Seeing some of these younger kids. I want to see the Keldrick Falk. I want to see Deron Reed. I want to see Jeremiah Cobb maybe in the second half.
Yeah.
Really excited. Caden Lee, yeah. I want to see some of these guys that we've heard a lot about. Justin, do you know, have you heard any injury report, or has there been an official capacity? I haven't seen. Do we know if anybody's out or? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
There were 5 guys named by Freeze on Monday: J.D.
Okay.
Rim, Nick Marner, Jalen McLeod, Robbie Ashford, and
Nehemiah Pritchett.
Jalen McLeod.
But he said all of them.
They were all
probably could play, should play. McLeod got banged up. McLeod hurt his right ankle. That's been nagging since, a week and a half or so. Robbie's had some injuries that have been nagging for a week and a half. Nehemiah's a relatively new one, but a lot of that stuff's nagging. So I think they all probably will go, but their snaps will probably be limited. I don't think there's anything serious.
Okay.
Going.
So no Camden Brown, no Marcus Harris reports.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Camden was,
they've been banged up.
Been out there. Harris got hurt in that last scrimmage, but I didn't hear his name on Monday. So
okay.
I definitely saw Marcus Harris getting after it in practice Tuesday. I saw everybody except for really Nehemiah Pritchett he had his helmet on, he was moving around, but he was doing less than some others. So
yeah, and on Nehemiah, if you look at of course in the depth chart, Champ Anthony, who fans probably still don't know anything about that guy.
Forgot about him.
He's going to play a ton Saturday. If Nehemiah is limited,
he's going to play a lot.
Champ Anthony's going to be right out there, right off the bat. So get used to that name. And
where's he from?
A little bit.
Tyler Junior College.
Okay,
he was the late junior college edition, and a good. And by the way, pretty clutch on that one because if not, I mean, it's Kayan Lee and J.D. Rim who's coming off that injury. Those are your next 2 after James and Pritchett, and that's they could be awesome, but who knows? He was pretty good. He had a bunch of picks and a bunch of pass breakups, and he's fast. And when I was at practice Tuesday, that was the guy that Wesley McGriff, Coach Crime, was on. I mean, he was jumping around with him. He was getting after him, and he was like, they're getting him ready to play. I could tell.
Yeah, he looks the part. And that's going to be the overlying thing, I think, with this team is depth. I think there's players. I think there's some decent starters. I think there's enough good players as starters to compete if you were just looking at starters. To compete, the depth is going to be the issue with this team. Secondary, defensive line, even linebacker. Just if you get a few injuries at some of these positions, the depth drops off in a hurry, and you're going to be hurting real quick. The secondary, you got a bunch of young guys. If any of those first teamers get hurt, the next guy up is a complete unknown. Same thing kind of with probably less so defensive tackle, but that's secondary big time. But defensive tackle too, like you get a few injuries and there's just a massive unknown with who has to step up. That's the thing that concerns me going into the SEC season and wondering, can they get to 8 wins or whatever is they better stay healthy, because if they don't, they're going to be hurting.
Definitely.
Is there one player, Cole, you're looking forward to seeing on defense, offense? Like, I want to see this cat. Like, obviously Peyton Thorne on offense.
Jalen McLeod. That's the one I got to see. I mean, of course, Keldrick Falk. I mean, not, from seeing that kid play when he was in Pee Wees, I've seen him that long. I'm ready to see what he can do on that level. But Jalen McLeod, I mean, the first time we heard his name, I looked him up and went, he's got superstar potential. So I'm ready to see him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to – I think you won't see a good version of him Saturday.
No, probably not.
I mean, I don't think you're going to see a 100% version. And if Auburn, if he's at all nicked up, limited, whatever, you play him maybe a little bit, but you rest him. He's too important. Dude, for me, it's Austin Keys. If you're going defense, it's Austin Keys. That guy is going to be so important.
Yeah, he is.
We talk about Jalen McLeod being important, and he is to get after the quarterback. But you listen to Ron Roberts talk about this defense. He's like, it's a linebacker-driven defense. Well, that starts with your middle linebacker, and that's Austin Keys. And he's got all the tools. His production was I guess limited last year at Ole Miss. He was part of the rotation. He wasn't a stud. Now he's got to be the stud. And I want to see what he's about in terms of his range, playing in the box. He's one of their best box, defenders. Him and McLeod are probably two of the best. But I think that guy is so freaking important to what they're going to do on defense. I want to see if he could be the real deal. He's got that kind of ability.
Yeah, he is. You just go check out that clip when he played against Alabama, took on the blocker. And I mentioned that to him when we had the roundtable with Austin Keys. And he was like, yeah, that's me. I take on the blocker. I said, that's what Auburn's been missing at linebacker a little bit. A guy that's physical and wants to take on blocks and plays downhill, sort of like KJ Britt. And Zacoby McClain. Those are really the last ones. And they haven't had a guy that can do that since, in my opinion.
Yeah. And even those guys McClain was great, but he's a little undersized, but great. Britt was really good too. Britt was more of a run stuffer. Keys, I think, has got the ability to be kind of an all around. Like, sure. I'd have to go back and look up Keys. Let me look up exactly what Keys' size is. But the person who comes to mind is 6'2", 233. So pretty close. The guy that comes to mind is Josh Bynes. Josh Bynes is kind of the last. I guess Trey Williams is pretty good too in that role. A good sized linebacker that you thought could stop the run and cover a little bit. But I think Keys has got some of that ability. So I want to see what he's all about.
Is Josh Bynes still playing in the NFL? He's not retired yet, right?
I don't have to look. Zach might have to look it up. Man, he's had an awesome career.
Yeah, he's had
four-star out of Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
Hey,
he's a free agent. He was signed by the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, that was back in the day.
He was with them recently.
He played for them and the Bengals, and he's had an awesome career.
He was with I thought he was with the Cardinals. Maybe not. I don't remember.
I think he was with Boyd Anderson.
That was Dansby.
Dansby was the Cardinals. I thought Bynes went somewhere and then came back.
Dansby's still playing?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
He had a great career too.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Offensively, let's talk about Jarquez Hunter for a minute. Do we think he plays? Hugh Freeze was asked about that, and declined to say who was going to play, who was going to not play. Kind of hid behind the I'm not going to ever say who plays, who's going to play, and who's not going to play answer. I've gone out there and said on the board a few times that I think it's possible that he misses time. Nothing was ever for sure. Nothing was ever confirmed, but I think that was certainly a possibility. And when you hear Freeze say, I'm not going to talk about it, and you look at Hunter at the top of the depth chart, and he hasn't been injured, it certainly makes you wonder if he's going to play on Saturday. Does it matter if he plays? What are your thoughts if he plays or doesn't play? Does it mean anything long term?
Nah, it doesn't matter if he plays. I think I'm with. I don't think he plays Saturday. I have a gut feeling he probably won't play Saturday, even though he's been at practice and all that. I just feel like they're going to have to do like 1 game suspension or something, just to make sure everything's good.
I don't think it matters as far as the outcome of the game. I don't think it matters as far as the score. I think Auburn's going to do. Hell, I could go out there and rush for 120. But I think what does matter is we know what Jarquez can do. He's got game experience. Damari has very little. Brian Battie, and not in the SEC, and even Jeremiah Cobb. Is Sean Jackson? He's got some.
Yep.
But what an opportunity if he does not play for these other kids to get some sparring in.
Yeah.
Before the real boxing match, to use the Mike Tomlin. Did y'all hear that? That was really good.
Yeah, very good. I think a lot of fans are very excited about Damari Alston. In fact,
yeah, I want to see him in a more leader role.
If you polled Auburn fans right now, like, give me your top 5 guys, I bet he'd be in the top 5 a bunch of times.
Now, you guys would know, Damari Alston and Quinshon Junkins were same class, correct?
Yes, they were.
Was that them liking Alston better than Judkins?
Yeah. I think it came down to that, yeah. I mean, they had a shot with Judkins and never seemed to overly.
Right, that's the way I remember it, is maybe they leaned Alston.
The concern with Judkins was his top end speed. I know there was consideration late to make a move on him, but the concern with Judkins was his top end speed. So if you're breaking, let's see, Trey Smith didn't have great top end speed. He could break out into the open, but he was going to get pulled down from behind. He wasn't going to be able to score from 80 yards out. They didn't think Judkins could do that either. I don't know if that was a game breaker, deal breaker for them, but I remember that being a concern with him. And that's a concern for Auburn when they're recruiting running backs. I mean, Cadillac Williams has been recruiting running backs for Auburn for 5 years now?
Yep.
His track record speaks for itself, but hey, he likes that top end speed.
Alston's got that. I think he's poised for a great year. I think that Damari Alston is poised for a fantastic year. He really is.
Yeah, he's probably my breakout player pick if I had to pick one.
He's got it on the whole team or offense?
On the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense.
You look back at we talk about top end speed. I don't know that Tank Bigsby really has great top end speed, but look at what Cadillac has done in just the high school. Tank Bigsby, Jarquez Hunter, Damari Alston, Jeremiah Cobb. You tend to give him some leeway on who he wants and who he doesn't.
Yep, no doubt. And Cobb, everything we've heard from Cobb is he's legit.
Oh, listen,
if he wasn't behind, 2 guys and then a transfer, really he's behind 3 guys. If the running back room is a little bit different, Cobb would be playing. He's had everybody that talks about him is like physically he's ready to play already. Puts his nose in there. At running back, you could play him as a true freshman.
You talk about top end speed. Jeremiah Cobb's got it, and I've seen him a million times in person. I mean, he's got some of the best acceleration I have ever seen. I'm telling you, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon. So I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play all season. I don't think he's a redshirt guy. I guess that would be my hot take of this team.
It's possible. I mean, I guess I don't know. I got to see what the offense looks like in the rotation of the running backs to see if he redshirts or not. Because he can play in 4 games. When you get in the conference and you've got Hunter and Alston and Battie, where do you decide to take those dudes off the field and put Jeremiah Cobb on the field in College Station or playing in Baton Rouge?
I found it interesting that going back and watching a lot of old Hugh Freeze Ole Miss games, there were some game-winning plays that he threw it to the running back. Maybe it was a wheel route, maybe it was a screen. He likes to throw to him, and I think Cobb might be one of your best receiving options out of the backfield. So I think that might be his role if he were to have a role this season. So, and they're gonna throw it. We've heard that for years now, but I watched the film on them doing that. They beat Alabama with a wheel route to the running back to Jalen Walton, who was his running back at Ole Miss. So he likes to do that. And it comes at weird times. And I think that's what he intends on doing.
Speaking of Batee, dude, I'm ready to see some returns.
If we see him.
Wasn't he All-American returner at yeah.
He was.
Yep.
He is up for the
returner.
Paul Hornung Award,
yeah.
which
Hornung.
is the
Careful.
most multi-purpose player in the country.
Yeah, he's gonna be electric. And let's see, I think is Hunter back there with him or Keontae?
It's probably gonna be Damari.
Hunter. It's Hunter.
Oh, it's Hunter. Okay.
And then Keontae is going to give it a shot at punt returner if he'll catch the ball. Keontae will catch the ball consistently. Keontae Scott can be dynamic as a punt returner. He's got to catch the ball.
He reminds me of David Irons.
He's so fearless. But he's got to catch the ball.
He is fearless.
Maybe it's the number.
What did he switch to? Keontae switched to, what did he switch to?
Number 0.
Oh. Wasn't he 6? But
He
I
was
think
6.
maybe David was 4, though.
David Irons was 4.
Yeah, David was
Yeah.
4. David Irons, go Irons brothers. All right, Auburn UMass 2:30 Saturday, ESPN. That's kind of cool. The national. I don't think they have the A crew, but they got the A station in ESPN. So that'll be good. It won't be 94 degrees. It'll be about 87. That's not terrible for September 2nd opener against. I'm sure UMass is going to be feeling it a little bit.
They should be excited about that.
All right, let's do thoughts before we get out of here. Auburn's a 35-point favorite. Over-under's 51.5. I'm going under. I don't think Auburn covers 35. That's hard for me. I don't know enough about Auburn. And UMass has got a game under their belt. I know UMass's roster, and they're not supposed to be any good, but they do have a game under their belt, one game. They're going to come in maybe a little sharper than Auburn. Auburn's going to have maybe a first few drives where they're trying to shake the cobwebs out. But I don't know, 35 is a big number for me for Auburn. I'd probably go – I don't think they cover – I don't know what the final will be, but 35 is – I mean, if you think Auburn will get to 42, 42-7, 42-6, that'd be a mighty impressive first game showing. It's possible, but I'm not sure they cover 35.
It's a lot of points. Cole?
I think it's going to be very close. It might even be a push, but I say it's a slight cover for Auburn.
Yeah.
Because I think that I really, even though the defense is the question, I think they're not going to give up much. I mean,
they're going to out-athlete UMass for sure.
100%.
Okay. I'm with you guys. I do not think Jarquez Hunter plays. I think he sits for one game. I think he'll make his debut in Cal. I've got 41-10. I think UMass will score. I was debating on maybe they won't, but I watched them a little bit last week against New Mexico State. They can score the football. They can move the football. Well, obviously they should be able to against New Mexico State. This is a first game defense under a first coordinator with a lot of transfers. I can see UMass or Auburn's defense giving up a touchdown. All right, and then maybe a field goal. I feel like the offense is going to get going. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think they're going to turn it loose on Peyton Thorne as well. I've got Auburn 41-10, so that's what, not covering and staying under. So I've got UMass plus 35 and the under 51.5.
I think that's a good prediction. I think that's it's probably where I'd go. 42. I'm not sure I'd go 45 for Auburn. I think 38-42 for Auburn and 10-13 maybe for UMass, something like that. I'm not sure it gets to 38-0 or 42-6. I'm not sure it's that type of beatdown in week one, at least. You got some guys banged up. You're going to be trying to work through some kinks. If Hunter doesn't play, there's just some things I think could limit that number being reached.
I'll say 48-7. That's going to be my prediction on the game, which is a cover.
And an over.
That's a double cover. Yeah, it's a cover. Yeah. Covered by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That quarterback, I'm interesting. That quarterback for UMass, good athlete.
I got the pronunciation. Are you ready? I got the pronunciation. It is Tyson Fomachan.
Fomachan?
Or Fumachan. I heard it both ways on the call. He is went to Clemson, 4-star blue chip recruit, transferred to Georgia Tech for a year, didn't play. Now he's at UMass, and he had 96 yards in the opener rushing, so and 192 passing. So no touchdowns, no turnovers, but he's a threat with his legs, 100%. That's what he did at Clemson. In fact, they had a little package for him one year, and he came in and ran the ball. I think when DJ Ugalele was the quarterback.
You think he would definitely, with a name like that, definitely have to have the goatee,
Yeah,
the Fu Manchu.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Hey, all right, I'll see myself out.
All right, go do Prize Picks. We talked about that earlier. Go check them out. Go check out auburnlive.com. We'll have scouting reports, tons of game coverage, anything that happens recruiting-wise over the weekend, which sounds like it's possible. So go check out auburnlive.com. Yearly subscriptions are half off right now. That's a great deal. Go do that. Or you can do a month for $1. You could try it out that way as well. So go check out auburnlive.com. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And we'll catch everybody next week. For Cole, Jeffrey, I'm Justin. See you next time.